Now, I could go ahead straight away and start routing these things, for which I already have templates, or I could move on to make a template for the neck pocket, which is custom, of course, because every single one of our guitars is different. Seeing as I don't enjoy making templates particularly, it's fun using them and it's fun when they're right, but the process itself isn't that amusing. So yeah, seeing as that is the case, I think I'll just get that over and done with now, and we'll make a neck pocket template first. Don't put off till tomorrow what you can get done today, especially if you don't enjoy it. Delayed gratification. There we go, that's it. Anyhow, I will need a small piece of MDF. In fact, I'm going to walk you through a couple of ways that this could be done. Let's see. So obviously the first thing that you can do is take your neck, put it on a piece of material, draw around it, or scribe around it using a sharp scalpel or possibly an awl, something like that. And that would give you a pretty much exact mark to cut out, and then you would make yourself a fairly standard template. And that, you know, that is the proper way to do it, especially if you're going to be making several of this same instrument. Now, seeing as we're not going to be doing that, there is another quicker way of working this out, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So, first of all, let us put this guitar in the dogs. So, stability really is of utmost importance. So to start with, the guitar body is put in the dogs. These are dogs. I don't know why they're called that. Jaws, I suppose, maybe. And okay, and then the next stage is to get two pieces of, I'm using Perspex templating material here, or you could use well, pretty much anything that's got a nice straight edge. And these are going to be our template, or at least two sides of the template. Now I've got my scalpeled marks of where the neck needs to go, and effectively I'm putting my template just inside where those marks are. Now the last thing I want to do is make this hole too big. That really is absolutely the last thing I want to do. So these two pieces will be clamped in place, and then we will also clamp a smaller piece along the end there, and then it's just a case of running a router along. And this is, it's simple and straightforward, and cheating, I suppose, and you need to be absolutely certain that you've got it in the right place, but it works. And if something works, well, who am I to complain? So our body is in the dogs, and that is relatively stable. Once it's all clamped up, it'll be even more so. My problem is that putting this piece there and one here, I don't have enough room to get any clamps on this, apart from one here right at the end, which I will do. I could use double-sided tape, but quite frankly I never trust the stuff. It could work 9 times out of 10, but the 10th time you destroy a £500 piece of wood, and I don't feel like crying today, quite frankly. Now the other thing that can be done is I would like to screw or bolt this down to the body, and that is actually possible, despite the fact that this is the top and needs to look pretty. we have some spaces where we can drill holes, because we've just finalised where the myriad of controls are going to be. So what I'm going to do is make sure that's all nicely lined up and wonderful. And I'm going to get Jessica the Brad all out, and I'm going to mark where my controls are going. And I'm going to stop talking because I need to think. Okay, some of these haven't been drilled through actually. So, well, there we go. I've got enough marked out now. We'll finish the process later. I now have, so I'm going to use that one, I think, and we'll use that one there. So those are fairly far apart, and will stop the piece of material moving too much. And the trick now, that's too much to hope for that one of the existing holes would line up. Let there be light. Okay, being absolutely certain that the edge lines up where I need it to be, I'm going to get the brad all out again. I want one hole there and one there. Okay, I'm now going to go away and drill some holes and countersink them, and then we'll fit this properly. So it always helps to drill a, what the hell's that called? Start a pilot hole. There we go. It always helps to drill a pilot hole. It really is rather difficult to concentrate on what you're doing and to think about what you're supposed to be saying at the same time. There we go. 2 pilot holes. Those line up. That lines up. And first things first, I want to clamp this in place. The adage is measure, measure, cut. I'm placing that just on the inside of the line. By just, I mean it's literally tenths of a millimetre. Okay, that's in place. That's ready, and I need some screws. Okay, I've now got 3 pinch points, and it's nice and stable. And I can, through the perspex, just see my line. So, quite frankly, I'm happy with that. Now for the easy bit. This piece needs to be clamped in place. We've got those 2 pieces in place. we just need to find something to go down the middle, and I'm just going to make that out of a little piece of MDF. I've cut the template out and it's now time to plane it down to size. So that fits in there. And lines up perfectly. I now need a couple of deeper clamps. Let us see. The thing that we have to be aware of as well is the size of the router base. We need to have enough room to route the entire cavity. Even with just that one clamp, that actually looks like it will hold. I am going to put another one on just to be doubly sure. Now, hopefully, this cavity will be slightly smaller than my neck, and if I slide it up, oh, you see, it isn't. I put everything just so, and the cavity is exactly the same size as the neck. And that isn't actually what I wanted. I want it to be slightly smaller. Oh, and I can see what's happened. This piece here has moved a little bit that way during the clamping process. So, fine tune. And this is typical of guitar building. You often have to go back and redo things, or rejig, move things around. There we go. That is what I want. That is exactly what I want. Now this cavity is going to be slightly smaller than the neck, and as such I will be able to just tweak it out. Just double checking the depth of the neck pocket where I want to route. Now the fun really begins. Okay, I've got a bearing cutter in here. It might be too long, but I doubt it. Not at all. Alright then. That cutter needs a little bit of a clean at some point soon. It's got a bit of resin build up, but it's perfectly fine for what we have to do today. Now, the last thing before you start routing, have a cup of tea. Ear defenders, eye protection. Now you saw that I took that in very gentle passes. You might feel somewhat invincible when you have a nice big sharp router. However, if you take too much wood away, you can have an accident and chip your piece, especially around this area where it is very, very thin. Now, well, I mean, what can I say? I've got now a perfectly shaped, slightly small neck pocket. And while making the template this way took a little bit of time, and getting it right is finicky. Finicky. That's a good word. Yes. Anyhow, I digress. The end result is something that, you know, works very well. I tend to use this method especially when I'm doing deep set neck tenons, which is where the end of the actual neck comes to down here. And it seems to be a good way to make templates if you do it properly. I will always say that if you are going to do a job more than once, absolutely go ahead and make a proper MDF or Perspex acrylic template, because you can then reuse it many times. And I've got a shelf that is 4 meters long in there, full of templates, and I often reuse them from other builds. But today we've done this, and it's been a success.